here today. Some of you are local and some of you have come from quite far. And I would like to start by introducing myself, Kim Rose, and I've known Coni 25 years, and like many people in the room, I worked with her here in this beautiful building, so it seems only right that we're gathered in a place where Coni made such a huge impact and made a difference in so many people's lives right here. So Coni wants to make it very clear that although we all feel we're here to honor her, she actually wanted to throw this party to honor all of us. And if you know Coni at all, you know how selfless she is. And she doesn't want this to be all about her, but it is. She wanted to take the opportunity to celebrate all the people that she loves all together in one place. And she talked about being joyfully selfish, having this party for herself. So we thank you for being here. Every detail is very Coni, as you'll see. There's some slides of wonderful memories and people behind us. And she's pointing. Oops, that's me and Coni. Gosh, that's a long time ago. And we would welcome you during the event to take time to enjoy the Thomas Center. And before we start, I just also want to mention that the restrooms are in the back, in that corner. And you'll be able to walk around the building and enjoy the gallery behind us and upstairs. We just ask that you don't bring food and drink in there. So I would like to start by thanking a few people. We want to thank the wonderful staff here at the Thomas Center for taking great care of us today. We want to thank Coni's dear friend, Sharon Farris. She has conducted many tours here in the building over the years. She's a colleague of Coni's from long ago. And where is she? There you go, hi. If you'd like to come up, maybe you'd like to introduce this beautiful building for people who haven't been in here before. So many of us know her from when we all worked here. She would give tours of the building to school children of many ages, and there were hundreds of kids coming through the building every year. So if you'd like to say a few words. Miss Flossie.
Yes, I was Miss Flossie here for many, many years in my little flapper outfit, and my headband and my feathers. And this is a building that I love very much, as I know that Coni always did. And I just want to give you a little overview. She asked me if I would do that, and I said I'd be very happy to. This was a building that was first a home, and then it was a hotel, then it was a junior college, and now it's the wonderful cultural center of Gainesville. Originally, it was built as a home by Major William Reuben Thomas, and he moved in here in 1910 with his growing family, and he was here till 1926. When at that point, he decided that the children were grown up and they were gone, and he wanted to have a hotel, a resort hotel. He wanted to make Gainesville a destination city, which indeed he did. And so he turned this beautiful home into a hotel, a winter resort hotel. It opened in 1928, and we have 3 period rooms, and many of the furnishings in this building are reminiscent of the year 1928. And it's very, very interesting. And indeed, it was a wonderful hotel. When it was a home, this was a huge garden area. When it became a hotel, of course, he put a terrazzo floor over it and covered it with this beautiful ceiling. And it was just a wonderful hotel for 40 years. But by 1968, the family had it. Major Thomas had died in 1943, and the family wanted to sell it. The Gainesville area was all moving west. Destination cities were more in the south. Transportation was ever so much better than it was in 1928. That they decided they would sell the place to some landscape developers and real estate people who wanted to tear the building down. And it was about that time that America and Gainesville got particularly interested in historic preservation. And there was a corporation here called Gainesville Historic, Inc., whose purpose was to preserve the wonderful, wonderful buildings in the Gainesville area. And the number one building they saved was this gorgeous building that we're in today. And of course, they eventually turned that into the Culture Center. And as you all know, Connie has been managing all the wonderful, wonderful cultural events that we have that have been held in this building over the years. And I appreciate the opportunity to share that with you. And if anybody, after all is said and done here, if anybody would like a tour of the building, I'll be very happy to do that for you. And I won't wear my costume. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. We'd like to also recognize our pianist for the day, Andrew Clark. He's a former music director and organist for the Riverside Presbyterian Church and a longtime family friend in Jacksonville, who's come from there to play for us today and to accompany our singers. Connie's family is here. Her son, Dave, will sing some of Connie's favorite songs accompanied by Andy. And also, Connie's son, Matt, and daughter-in-law, Tari, designed the lovely program that you have on your tables with all the beautiful pictures. Everybody's been enjoying them, and quotes, favorite quotes that Connie lives by. Connie's grandchildren, Matthew and Allie, are here. Allie has a boyfriend, Brian, and their mother, Dawn, is here. Connie's sister, Jackie, and her husband, Tucker, are here from South Carolina, and son, TJ, who came down from New Jersey. And Matthew's also going to sing 2 solos. So it's a very musical, talented family. 2. So now I would like to introduce Connie to say a few words.
I don't have a name. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. I don't have a name tag on, but I know who I am. And I'm going to read this because I'm so high. I can't remember anything. Breathe. Although I am not a religious person, I do believe in angels. You may have noticed there are angel images on your table, in the program, and in the slideshow. In my mind, angels are not holy, otherworldly spirits, but a symbol for the loving, caring spirit that exists within each of us. This event is not really to celebrate my birthday, which is in April anyway, but to celebrate you, my angels. You have each contributed to my life, and I'm going to cry, to my joy, to my physical and mental health. You have shared your knowledge, talents, and work ethic with me, taught me, helped me, supported me. Loved me, and have given your best to me. I wasn't going to do this. When I look around me, I see a room full of hugs, a room full of angels. Life doesn't get any better than that. Thank you for being in my life, and enjoy the party.
I'll lighten the mood. Connie meant high on emotional energy.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Hi. Can you hear me? No? Can you hear me now? Are we good? Hi. So I'm Allie. I'm Connie's granddaughter. We're about to start the raffle. Y'all can keep enjoying your dinner, please, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the first one of Connie's prints. And so everyone has a name, or a name, yes, and and a number next to their name on their name tag. So go ahead and look at your number, and we'll go ahead and do the first drawing for this lovely print. So the lucky number is 69. It looks like Mr. Don. There he is. Congratulations.
Don, you see? He was lucky. You're complaining.
So we'll go ahead and do the next drawing. Number 65. Looks like Joel. Congratulations.
Little memento.
Okay, and the next number.
Find this one too. Can you tell a story? I found out, I did this from a photograph that I took when I was in Paris with my sister several years ago. And because of Jamie, thank you, I found the name of the artist who did it. I thought it was some poor female. And it turns out to be a very well-known, internationally known male, Valdez, Manuelo Valdez, something like that. And the piece that, not this one, this is a trio actually, but the piece that Jamie sent me a photograph is $890,000. So you're not getting the sculpture, but you know.
I want that one. I don't have a number. It's okay. Well, number 50 looks like Erica Chapman. Yay! Is that 4? So 3 more? 3, this one and 2 others. Okay.
She said she thought you said 15.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. The next lucky number is 18.
This is the radiator.
Christina Barnes.
In New York City. And it was taken out of TJ's bedroom window.
Whose window? TJ. It's beautiful. Oh, we got an architect.
Oh, yay!
Oh, boy.
Is there 2 more?
You have to bring your winners into camera range.
Yes. Could you do your hugging here, please?
Okay, thank you. I need stage direction. These are Jackie's umbrellas. My sister Jackie.
They're Madame Jolet.
She, again, we were in Paris, and she walked me all over town to find these umbrellas.
Number 34. Looks like Miss Trudy. Oh.
Very nice, thank you so much.
Okay, there's just 2 more prints. The next one is number 71, Larry Perkins.
Is he there?
Larry, he had to leave, but Norman's here.
Oh, well, Norman, you can come get it. This was actually a photo taken by my son, Matt, when we were in New York, and I've been doing a whole series on reflections, and this is through a glass window, a plate window, you know, in a shop. And there were these funky dwarf elf things in the window, but when you look closer, you see all kinds of spooky stuff.
One more print. Let's see. Oh, which way? This one. All right, the winner of the artichoke is number 64, Phil Calvert. Congratulations.
I had a whole series on artichokes. I was preparing the artichoke to eat, and the sunlight was just so beautiful. Like, I had to take photographs of it before I ate it.
Is it a French artichoke?
No, it's not a French artichoke. It's I don't know where that
All right, thank you, everyone. Congratulations.
Okay. So now it's time, we would like to tell some stories, and I would like to start. Several people have asked me to share their stories as well as my own because they're a little shy to come up to the mic, but I do hope afterwards others of you will join me up here and talk about when you met Coni and a favorite memory. She's giving me a look like, don't get too sappy. So, all right, I'm going to tell you how I met Coni. I had just graduated from UF in 1992, I think, the end of 91, beginning of 92, when I interviewed and got the job. And I didn't want to move back to South Florida to stay with my parents. I'd had enough living at home. And I just interviewed with the city of Gainesville for an events assistant job and wasn't that serious about it because there was another job that paid better and blah, 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 blah. But I loved the arts. And I said if I stayed in Gainesville, I wanted to do something cool and take advantage of the city. And I met Coni, and in that split second, I knew that I had to work for her or be around her. She's magnetic, and it was the best decision of my life. It was only 3 years working with Coni and Dr. Moore and Steve and Margie and Linda, but it set the course for my entire career. So, try not to get sappy. I owe Coni a lot. So I'm going to lighten it by saying I got to run the art show in the Medieval Fair and do some plaza concerts. And I always was very grateful for the trust they put in me. And I recently had lunch with Dr. Moore and Steve and Coni, and I got very sappy because I hadn't been with them all together in one place in years. And I said, I just need to tell you while we're all sitting here how much that start to my career meant to me. And you gave me so much responsibility. And when I think about it, you took a chance on me, and they all just started laughing amongst themselves. And they said, oh, we were watching you very closely. You weren't really on your own. But anyway, it's a collective thank you to everyone here who's worked with all of you or for you about what an incredibly special place this was. And Karen, who is also another lifelong friend of ours, like my sister, she said, the thing that made this place special is how kind and loving and supportive it is. And way before Google made it cool to have, a supportive workplace with cool things going on, things happened at the Thomas Center. Like, I'll never forget the time when I was getting ready for one of my first annual events, and I was nervous, and Coni's so empathetic. She could tell how stressed I was. I was new, and I had this big event, my first one, and I was just sitting at my desk minding my own business. Hadn't really noticed that she'd noticed my stress level, and she quietly came, this is my new boss, quietly came into the room, shut the door behind her, told me to close my eyes and turn the light off, and came and gave me a back rub. So the workplace massage, and all of that Google does, Coni started that. And Karen and I have memories of the staff being summoned and told to sit on the floor and do a circular massage, shoulder massage. That doesn't happen at Shands where I work now, unless you're with arts and medicine. So we have fun memories. We got up to all sorts of trouble here. I asked, Bill Hutchinson had to leave. And he sent his regrets for needing to leave early. So he said when he first met Coni, it was 30 years ago, and it was your 50th birthday, and you were wearing a button that said, "This is what 50 looks like." Yeah. And he also wanted to share, Coni was not only a magnificent boss, and he took a while to the word magnificent was what he came up with. He said, she was also the only boss that I kissed on the lips many times. Gail Morgan is here. And Gail, we were talking about Coni, and she said, there's just no hug like a hug from Coni. And everyone's nodding. And we were like, well, what do you mean by that? How could we describe a hug from Coni? And we all came up with warm, all-encompassing, and Maura said, it's like an angel hugging you, to use your angel analogy. And so we also, several of us have lived next door or in the same, there's a townhouse divided into two and two apartments next to it. So I lived next door to Coni for many years as well. So you get really close when you live next door to people. And Jamie and Brenda have also lived next door. And we called it the compound. And it was the most wonderful thing to live with your dear friends. And, you know, if you didn't have a blender, someone had a blender to lend you. If you didn't have a food processor. But our favorite things were texts from Coni. Roasted vegetables on your doorstep. Or, I've made too much food, come on over, what are you doing? But then there were the not so great things that we all just realized we had in common, like, should somebody have an unexpected overnight guest? Coni would text the next day and say, who was over last night? And if your car didn't move, because you might have a day off that she was unaware of and you're trying desperately to sleep in, Coni would call, are you okay? And so we all agreed that if you live near Coni and something tragic happened to you, Coni would be the one to find the body. So Sally Ann is here, and Sally Ann and Coni go way back. I said, how long have you known each other? And she just said, oh, Lord, probably from the 70s. And they met when Sally Ann, she said, I was a dealer. And I said, you might want to tell me what kind of dealer. And she said, oh, an art dealer. She worked at a gallery. So I just don't want there to be any misunderstandings. And she also said two things that I thought Coni would love. One is Coni taught her how to hug. It's a theme. Everyone's nodding. And then also her favorite piece, this is Sally Ann, who herself is an artist and an art dealer. Her favorite piece of art of all time is a drawing that you did in grad school. So I'm not sure which one it was, but I thought that was very special. Is it the one over your bed, Sally Ann? Yes. Yep. So I also, is Joan Davidson here? Joan, I heard that Coni, I'm just saying this in case you feel the desire to come up, Coni has bribed you with the $25 if you'll get up and talk about her. I don't know. Our friend Anne Morgan also can't be here, but shared something for me to read. She said, Coni, our beloved friend, so many wonderful sessions in your living room with the drawing group. And I see Ron and Lauren, Hope back there. Whether they were drawing, painting, working in clay, or later on just having dinner and hanging out all night and talking. Anne mentioned that Eloise Page, who was a spiritual teacher from Cassadaga, said of Coni that there was a lot of pink in her aura, and Anne asked what that meant. And Eloise replied, pink symbols an innocence, like a childlike innocence. And Anne says that is the wonderful quality that Coni brings, and it gives her a youthfulness that transcends physical age and life situations. And Anne says, for that rare quality and the many years of deep sharing and memories, thank you, dearest Coni, from Anne and Brent. Yes. And so I am going to open up the mic to family and friends, or Joan, if the bribe might go up to 50. And Joe is here. Joe Antonelli said he might say something. So if you'd like to come up and share a memory, we would love that. And at this point, I don't think Coni's going to help herself from crying. So if you make her cry, you know, she's got a box of Kleenex in front of her.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday. My name is Joe Antonelli. I moved here in 1990. I've known Coni probably from the early 90s originally. This building meant something very special to me because of that little room upstairs where you were at the time. I think Linda Piper was up that way. But it was a wonderful treat to meet somebody who was just really warm, really genuine, very, very huggable. And it was immediate. I mean, there was an immediate love for this lady, this woman. And I saw what she did. I saw how she operated. I saw her organization. It was all just tremendous. It has made such a tremendous impact on this city since I've been here and since you've been gone. I mean, really, frankly, you're not gone. You've left a legacy. If angels are we, then what are you to me? You know, you are just beyond. You're a loving, beautiful soul. You said in your program, "Cien de se." And so to you, I would say maybe "Cien de veinte," 120. And God knows what we'll be at that point in time. But you have so gracefully aged, and it is not even age, it's wisdom, it's just the clarity with which you come across is amazing. And I can't tell how many people I have told this to. We were in a group called the Order of Sons of Italy, which we actually began in this town around 92. And it has since dissipated. We had about maybe 50, 60 people. It was always nice trying to get a few people with vowels at the end of their name. And we would have monthly potlucks, and of course the food was good. But I remember having conversations that maybe you might or might not have remembered, but we had a discussion about how it should be called the Sons and Daughters of Italy, and I will be in politically correct mode. And or maybe it was I figli d'Italia, the children of Italy. But it was not to be. Nonetheless, you know, as its paternalism is rampant, we went on. The group did not. Lots of people have passed since. But it was a remarkable good decade, at least, that we spent and had a great time. And for that, I'm very thankful. But it's your friendship. It's just you. It's being your friend and being around people like you in the city that has made living here so wonderful. I can't thank you enough. I wish you nothing but the best in life. Cien de veinte. You are our angel. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve. I've had the pleasure of knowing Connie since March the 10th, 1986. She was 3 and I was 2. So. But many of you all who know Connie know the beautiful lady that she is. She's ageless. I've always been impressed by her beauty, her looks, her kindness, and whatnot. But I know something you all don't know. When Dr. Moore hired me back in 1986, he brought us to town, and the first thing that my wife and I did was get lost in Gainesville. I got phone calls from Debbie all the time. "Honey, I'm lost. I can't find the house." And so, needless to say, I had a hard time maneuvering around Gainesville. So the first day on the job, Dr. Moore had asked Connie to get in the vehicle. Oh, there's pictures of us. Get into the vehicle and drive him around town and show him the nature parks. I was the nature manager. Connie was the culture manager. So I thought, no big deal, Connie. Get in the car. Let's go. She's going to drive. She goes, no, it's your car, your parks. I'll navigate. She was my first Garmin. And you drive. So, all right. And, of course, you know, remember, I can't find my way around Gainesville to begin with. So we're going down the road. And Connie says, "Oh, you need to turn left." Well, I turned left, and I almost had a head-on collision with another car. And that was the day that I take credit for Connie's beautiful hair being solid white. Anyway, Connie, I've loved you since the day I've met you. You've been a wonderful co-worker, friend, and I'm looking forward to the next 80 years with you.
So if I get sloppy, I apologize. I'll try not to, okay? Yeah. So I met Connie in 1965 in Montpellier. You need to understand that to be an American student in Montpellier was not easy. There was plenty of things that made it difficult. You didn't speak French. You had no idea what was going on. You got easily lost. I spent 2 weeks in the wrong classes when I first started. And there were plenty of excuses for not doing well. The first year had 1,500 people in it. The second year had 400. 200 graduated. You could imagine the tension. Connie, on the other hand, and people complained all the time. I remember after the first year's exams, sitting on a gorgeous beach in Palavas, looking at beautiful women, eating wonderful food, surrounded by Americans saying, "Oh God, can't we get back to Queens and American pizza?" And I just sort of, Connie had a lot that she added to that community, but the main thing was she looked at the beauty of every situation. God, the language is hard. Isn't it beautiful, though, speaking it? God, it's a strange place here, but isn't it lovely in the morning? God, the people are a little bit, but aren't they friendly and loving? And that was Connie. She did that. And then we didn't see each other from 1970. We've seen each other 5 times since 1970. And one of those times I was in Daytona. And Connie had just gotten divorced. And I was either in the midst or had just gotten divorced. And it was difficult. My divorce was very difficult. And I don't know how Connie's was, because all she could talk about was the excitement of the new experience, the rhythm of the new life, the wonderful people she met. I'm sorry. And that was Connie again. And now here we are, 75, 80. And she was talking about an adventure that I've heard so many older patients have, being taken to an emergency room, sick. And usually it's a terrifying adventure. It was horrible. Nobody understood. My God, it was crazy. They were rotten. They've got to do something. Connie said, I was so impressed with the way everybody worked, the way everybody knew their job, the way everybody took care of me. And that's Connie. No matter what the situation, no matter what place, she finds the beauty and the wonder of it rather than the things that are wrong with it. And thank you for teaching me that.
It's a little embarrassing for me to come up after all of these wonderful speakers who seem to be at ease with public speaking and telling stories. So I would just like to recall the first time that I got to Montpellier. I looked around and I said, wait a minute, these people are speaking French. I don't understand them. Then I found someone who was bilingual and said, well, you can stop by the library. The person who is in charge of the library speaks English. And I went and I spoke with her, and she said, oh, you have to meet, there's an American that's living here with his family. They've been here for quite some time. You'll have a wonderful time talking to them. So I said, where do they live? They go 74 Avenue d'Assas. Fine. I go to 74 Avenue d'Assas. I ring the bell. Nobody answers. I come back again the next day and the next day. And finally, one day, there's a little boy that's outside. And I said, est-ce que vous pouvez me dire où je peux trouver les Shininger? And he said, bien sûr, je peux. Je suis là. I said, what?
I said, you can speak English.
Exactly. And there's the proof. And then from that moment on, I was at ease because I met Connie, who has crossed pathways with me in my life multiple times. We started out just conversing, and eventually we became babysitters, the previous speaker and myself and a third person. We used to come over and babysit for Matt and for Dave, and then we would sit around and talk after they would come back from an evening, and we would talk till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then one day I was talking with Connie, and I was telling her about how I missed certain things in America. And she said, well, you know, you can enjoy the things that are American as well. I said, oh yeah, what about fruitcake? She said, I can make a fruitcake, we can make it together. I said, where are you gonna get the mix? She said, what mix? We're gonna do it right from scratch. And so she then invited me to come in and to help make the fruitcake. Now I have to tell you that 95% of the work was done by Connie. The only thing that I did was mix the bowl and mix the stuff, because then we did this maybe 3 months before Christmas, and we wrapped the fruitcake in some kind of a towel and then put rum on it. And I said, can I taste it? And she said, sure, take 2 of them. So we took 2 of them. One of them I was gonna bring home. But I tasted the first one. It was so good that by the time I got home and I had been telling my family about this wonderful fruitcake, it was gone. My mother was appalled. But then, as time went on, we continued to cross paths. When we came back to the United States, when Dave and Connie then moved to Jacksonville, whenever I would come down through Jacksonville, we would stop and see each other. And then ultimately, Connie moved to Gainesville, and we still met. And as my kids were growing up, Connie would come down and visit from time to time in Boca, and then sometimes we would meet halfway, either at Disney World or someplace on the coast, and we have pictures and videos to prove it. But the time marches on, and all of the events that have taken place have made me feel like I was special. I had a special relationship with this wonderful person that nobody else had. And now I come to see that this entire room has had the same experience that I've had. And I am just thrilled to be able to share this day with all of you. Thank you.
Let me try to take just a few moments and share an aspect of Connie perhaps that we haven't talked too much about. Of course, I met Connie, it must have been 1984. I'm lousy with dates now, 85. And that was quite an experience. I had been interviewing a number of people.
Tell them who you are.
Oh, I thought it had been done for me. I'm Dr. Moore, and I'm the former director of our cultural affairs and now retired. The beautiful part of it is as I worked with Connie, it was necessary to have someone on the staff who would be able to understand some of the frustrations that I would bring back. Instead of City Hall, I refer to it as the big house. The big house at that time was not a very friendly place because they had made some directions with this building that had not been accepted by the commission. Number one, the first issue was I moved in, I had no desks, no chairs, no staff, and no nothing. The staff that had been promised was completely eliminated because there was a budget crisis. I began to look for relief, first of all, to try to secure a position. They fired the city manager that had brought about a number of changes that had been placed on the drawing board, and the commission had decided that they would not follow. So needless to say, the priority was trying to find a way to keep this place floating because plans had been redrawn, and the new plans called for it to be a part of Building B, which is the building behind us, and those are city offices. And all of the staff that was present had written proposals as to how they could use this building. And perhaps a room could be set aside for cultural activities. There were a number of elected officials and community supporters that saw absolutely no value in having a major budget, and it was blown out of proportion that was presented in the news media, as to what the amount would be to keep a cultural operation running. And we would have such things as galleries, and we would be presenting concerts, and we would have artists doing various projects, and it goes on and on and on. And to make this a reasonable length of time in what I'm trying to say today, in a very short time after having brought Connie on board and one other staff person, who's here also, who is Steve, for nature operations. There was no nature operations. There was just Morningside Nature Center. And Morningside Nature Center was in trouble also. So they gave them both to me and said, all right, you've got 6 months to pull this together and at least make it a relevant operation on paper. It was having Scotty in this particular situation that every time I would come back in from some of those meetings, I would be lower than low. And it was Connie that, I would sit there because I wanted her job. She didn't seem to ever be too worried about it. And that puzzled me for a while. And we ended up in a short period of time with not only what was then just called cultural affairs, and they didn't call it that often, but we became known as a division of the City of Cultural Affairs. From there, we became the Department of Cultural Affairs. We incorporated nature operation into the business, and then the Alachua County school system with an arts program that ran and is still running and continuing to expand. We brought in a number of community agencies. We committed a grant program modeled after one that I had run in Washington, D.C. We looked at several other programs. The Plaza became another component of ours. And I could name a few that have taken place since that period of time. And oftentimes I would come in and literally feel like crying about it's useless. You know, it's always budget. I never could talk about anything but budget. And Connie said, well, don't you think you need some help? And I said, yes, but where am I going to find it? Because I didn't know anyone here. I had just come to Gainesville. And we began utilizing what I call process. I would come in and dump on her, and we would exchange, and the three of us would sit there. But the beauty of it is they tell me sometimes, I think that's wrong if you don't do that. And out of it came a number of people. A few are in this room. There were the old days of the Lucille Malones, the Sarah Drowleys, and a number of others that were citizens out in the community. They were the ones that came and saw me trying to do a concert with a bunch of school kids at the plaza. And I had a handkerchief tied around my head because it was hot that day and the restroom stayed open 24/7. And I was not going to have those kids coming in those restrooms and changing clothes in that status. I had asked for staff to help or staff to clean, to no avail. And there was a lady there, Dr. Drowley and his wife. And that was a weekend. That Monday, they were at City Commission meeting and brought several other from the medical and some attorneys. And they laid out some facts that I wouldn't have been able to do in years. The next weekend, we had staff. This is just one example that I could name so many. But the beauty of it is this part of the learning process, it's a book that Connie gave me a long time ago, and it was Deepak Chopra. And I'm going to close by saying Connie represents so much of what I have heard, but it also incorporates this that came from Connie. And it goes, look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. And in this brief course lie all the varieties and et ceteras of existence. So therefore, do your best today. Thank you very much for letting me share.
It's a hard act to follow. Would anyone like to share anything? I don't know if you can take any more. Connie's. Okay. So I think now we need to have some music by Connie's son Dave and grandson Matthew.
All right, so like they said, I'm the grandson, and Grandma wanted me to sing something, so I will. Già il sole da Gange, più chiaro sfavilla, più chiaro sfavilla, più chiaro sfavilla. E giorni stilla dell'alba che piange, dell'alba che piange, dell'alba che piange, dell'alba che piange. sole da Gange, già al sole da Gange, più chiaro sfavilla, più chiaro sfavilla, più chiaro sfavilla. Coraggio dorato, in gemma ogni stello, in gemma ogni stello, in gemma ogni stello. E gli astri del cielo dipinge nel prato, dipinge nel prato, dipinge nel prato, dipinge nel prato. Coraggio dorato, in gemma ogni stello, in gemma ogni stello, in gemma ogni stello. And I'm the proud daddy of the guy who just sang. When the evening shadows fall and the lovely day is through, then with longing I recall the years I spent with you. Mamma, solo per te la mia canzone vola. Mamma, sarai come non sarai più sola. Quanto ti voglia bene queste parole d'amore che ti sospira il mio cuore, forse non suonano più. Mamma, ma la canzone più bella sei tu. Sei tu la vita e per la vita non ti lascio mai più. Mamma, mai più. Tornare sole, n'aria serena dopo una tempesta, bell'aria fresca, pareggiana e festa, che bella cosa una giornata sole. Ma
stan fronte a te, o sole mio, stan fronte a te, stan fronte a te. Hast du mein Herz zu warmer Liebe entzünden, hast mich in eines bessere Welt entrückt, in eine bessere Welt entrückt. Oft hat ein Seufzer deiner Harfe entflossen, ein süßer, heiliger Akkord von dir. Den Himmel besserer Zeiten mir entschlossen, du holde Kunst, ich danke dir dafür, du holde Kunst, ich danke dir. Caro mio bene, credimi almen, senza di te languisce il cor. Caro mio ben, senza di te languisce il cor. Il tuo fedel sospir lagnor, cessa cruder tanto rigor, cessa crudel tanto rigor, tanto rigor. Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisce il cor. Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te
I think now it's time to get ready for the toast.
I'm going to make me cry. Thank you. Tissues in hand. I'm Jackie. I'm Connie's sister. And I think I've known her the longest. I've known her for 78 years. She was there when I was born. This might be hard for anyone to really understand, but we have never, ever had a bad word for each other or a problem with each other in all of our lives. When we had problems, we always were there for each other. She's my heart.
The family is going to sing happy birthday.
Not just us.
Yeah, but you guys be close to the microphone.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you.
Gente se ani.
Before you all get too soused, no. I just want to say this has been marvelous, overwhelmingly so, and I'll strive to live up to all those wonderful things that have been said.
You already have.
Thanks, Joel.
Hey, it's not over yet, Joel.
No, it's not. It's not over. It's not over. You really are a room full of angels, and certainly a room full of hugs. Wonderful people. Thank you for being in my life.
So please feel free to stay and mingle and line up for a hug that only the kind only Connie can give. We want to thank you for making this such a meaningful day for Connie. It's exactly what she wanted. Connie, your infectious joie de vivre, hope I pronounced that right, love of life, and your love for all of us has been a light and continues to shine on us. We are all better for having you as an example of warmth, generosity, kindness, support, and happiness. You always say that the key to your ageless beauty and good health has been gratitude. And we are very grateful for you. Happy birthday, Connie. We love you. And please stay for not only a hug, but if you are interested in a tour of this lovely building, you can meet Miss Flossie in the back in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you.
The family is going to sing happy birthday.